Greek articles, in English that little word the, will match the noun they are modifying in gender, number, and case. So if this is the situation, then we're going to need a form that for masculines, a form for feminines, and a form for neuters. We're going to need singular forms and plural forms, and we're going to need nominatives, genitives, datives, and accusatives. Don't worry, there's no vocative. Some people will treat the word O as the article for the vocative case, that is, O gods, but it doesn't change, and it's just an expression, it's an exclamation. So there's no need to treat this like an article. Now, it's important to know articles, right? Once you know the articles, they're not going to change. Once you know the forms of the articles, they won't change regardless of what declension the noun belongs to. As remember, there are 3 different types of nouns. There are 3 different declensions, but there's only one set of articles. So memorize them now. Memorize them early. They will be your friends throughout your Greek career. We've already run into the feminine articles, so this will be just a quick review. Remember, they are he for the nominative, tes, te with the iota subscript, tain, high, tone, tis, tas. A couple things to keep in mind. The iota is in both the dative plural and singular. And then most importantly is that the feminines contain some form of the A, the alpha or eta sound, okay? Just like the first declension. It's first declension nouns. So feminine, A sound. On to the masculine. The masculine articles are going to be dominated, notice, by the O sound. So, ho, tu, to, ton, hoi, ton, tois, tus. Right. All with the O sound, either the long, notice the iota subscript in the dative singular again, the short omicron, or the U diphthong. See here. So, ho, tu, to, ton, hoi, ton, tois, tus. Closely related to the masculine articles are the neuter articles. In fact, the neuter articles are going to look an awful lot like the masculine articles. So let's look at those. Again, they're dominated by the O sound. Okay? The only difference you're going to see is in the nominative, both singular and plural, and the accusative, singular and plural. And there's 1 or 2 quick rules that you should know about neuters. That is, neuter nouns, neuter articles, neuter adjectives. So they are what I call my neuter rules. Rule number 1, the accusative is identical to the nominative. Okay? And rule number 2 is that neuter, plural, nominative ends in alpha. All right? These rules are going to follow both for the articles and for nouns, so learn them now. Right? And on to the articles. The neuter nominative singular to, tu, to, ta. Remember rule number 1, accusative is identical to the nominative. And the plural ta, there's rule number 2. Neuter plural nominative ends in alpha, ta, tone, tois, ta. And there we go with rule number 1. The accusative is identical to the nominative. So the neuters are dominated like the masculines with the O sound. And they are to, tu, to, ta, tone, tois, ta. Now let's take a look at all of them together. And I think you will be able to see certain patterns developing here. So in the singular, right, we've got our basic sounds here, our ho, he, to. You'll notice, of course, the masculine and neuters are nearly identical, except in the nominative and accusative. In the dative, All three articles, the masculine, feminine, and neuter, are dominated by the long vowel plus the iota subscript. So the long version of the vowel plus the iota subscript. Eta plus the iota subscript. So ho, he, to, tu, tes, tu, to, te, to. And then the accusative singulars for both the masculine and the feminine have a nu. So ton, tain, to. Right. Now in the plurals, you'll notice right away the relationship between the masculine and feminine, hoi and hai, right? O sound, a sound. And then in the genitive plural, tone, 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 they're all identical. And in the dative plural, tois, you get the diphthong. Tais, again the diphthong but with the a sound, tois. And then in the accusative, tus, tas, ta, here the accusative plural, both masculine and feminine, end in sigma. Now in terms of using the article, generally you can translate it as the, and treat it like we do in English. But there are situations where Greek will use the article where English would not. And I want to lay out these situations for you real briefly. One of the most obvious differences between the English usage and Greek usage is that the article oftentimes is used with proper names, especially if that person has been brought up previously. So here from Plutarch's Solon we have kai kateden ho solon. Solon noticed, he observed the ship being dragged from the island. But ho solon, we would never say the Solon noticed, right? We just say Solon. So proper names, the article is used. It is sometimes a very weak possessive adjective. So here, kuros katapedesas apo tu harmatos, from Xenophon, that is, Cyrus jumped down from his chariot, right? Here the article, the chariot, but really we know whose chariot it is, it's his chariot. So it's oftentimes can be translated as a possessive. It's oftentimes used with abstract nouns, ideas, justice, goodness, or in this case, he arete, virtue, and from Diogenes Laertius, if virtue is a help, ophele. He arete, we would never say if the virtue helps, we just use virtue as an abstract noun. So there, abstracts, Greek uses the article. And then with nouns that name a class or a group. Okay, so if you want to talk generally about men or people, hoi anthropoi, or in this case, hoi poietai, sophistai, poets are sophists. We might be able to get away with saying the poets are sophists, but really Diogenes Laertius here is speaking generally. Poets are sophists. He's not talking about a specific group, he's talking about the class that is poets.